Okay, everybody, continuing our series on producing income in retirement. Now we're going to start focusing in on the tools that we need to produce those three different types of income that I talked about in the previous video. So let's jump in. The first type of income that we have to discuss and the tools is guaranteed income. So guaranteed income is that paycheck that keeps coming in every month, whether you have money or not. That's the good stuff, right? And the really important part of this is that guaranteed income pays your base living expenses. So if your pension and Social Security is not enough to pay your base living expenses, we do need to explore the other tools that are out there. Okay, but you always want to assess that first. So we have two deferred options out there. Deferred meaning I don't need income today, but I'm going to need income in 5 years or in 4 years, or if you're being proactive, getting ready for retirement in the future, then the deferred options are going to be better for you. And those come in the forms of variable annuities. And then there's the fixed deferred income annuity, which I prefer to just call the dinner seminar annuity, because that's where they're sold. All right. And then if you need income now, the other choice is an immediate annuity, which those are usually very hard to find because they pay the smallest commission. So the salesmen don't necessarily want you to select that option. So they don't tell you about it. So let's dive into the deferred options first. Variable annuities, okay? Think of these first two as creating a pension for yourself. If you never worked a line of work or had a company that you worked for that had a pension option, you can create one with your own savings. So that's really important. So this is an investment that you're going to put money into. They're going to grow it for a guaranteed income payout later in life. The variable annuity version is the only risk-based version, okay? This is an annuity that is invested in a mutual fund portfolio that is housed by an insurance company that's going to charge you fees to give you that guaranteed income benefit, okay? So this is the only type of annuity that does have risk of loss because your money is going into stock-based mutual funds and sometimes bond-based, but I don't recommend that in these. So national average in fees, 3%. And all you're going to see on that statement is maybe 0.5%. So please be careful about these. You need to know where it fits into your plan. If you already have one, you've got to figure out exactly what you're paying those fees for and how it works into your income plan. Very important. That's why planning comes before investing. You want to have it in writing on how this works for you, how this is going to piece into the puzzle. Okay, so the other kind of deferred income annuity is fixed. So you have one that relies on the stock market to grow your money, and then you have a choice with no risk, right? So this one's going to give you that guaranteed 7% growth that we hear all the time. There's 10% growth. There's even 14% growth. Okay, but what you'll learn very quickly is that 7 is not necessarily worse than 14, and 14 doesn't necessarily beat 10. They're all just sales gimmicks. So we've got to understand this. Again, you're putting money into an investment that is going to grow for a guaranteed income payout later in life. That's what you're doing here. This is the deferred income annuity. Okay, so let's look at what both these are. So we got to remember there's two sides to this money. When you put money in a deferred income annuity, whether it's variable or fixed, the deferred income annuity will grow your money one way and this fictitious funny money that we call an income account another way. Okay, so the most popular stuff we see out there, you're going to get a bonus. So in this example, $100,000 deposit, 8% bonus, and then 7% guaranteed growth. That sounds really awesome. Can I have that, please? But two separate accounting. We got real money, the accumulation account. Sometimes you'll get the bonus on there, lots of fine print on that, lots of you got vesting schedules, you got a whole bunch of fine print on the bonus, but the growth is not 7% a year on your accumulation value. You're going to make maybe 1, 2, 3% a year on the accumulation value. But you shouldn't be doing this to grow your real money. You should be doing this to grow your fake money. The only reason you're getting a deferred income annuity is because you need more guaranteed income somewhere down the line. That's the only reason you should be investing in one of these. And so that fictitious account becomes important. Okay. So now you see 100,000 turned into 115 right away because you got an 8% bonus, and that's 7% guaranteed growth. And then it grows at 7% every single year there forward, whether it's 7% or 10% or 14%. That's all the salesy part of this. That's all they're really going to be trying to sell you. This is guaranteed income. At some point, you raise your hand and say, pay me a payment for the rest of my life. That cash value is not the reason you did this. Okay, that's so important to understand, because that guaranteed 7% growth has nothing to do with your cash value. Okay, now the difference between the fixed version and the variable version is pretty simple. The fixed version has that guaranteed fixed growth, okay, and your money's safe and it's not going up and down in the stock market. Wonderful. The variable version, well, your cash value is going up and down in the stock market minus 3% in fees. Whereas that fictitious funny money income benefit has some super fancy bells and whistles. They're going to tell you that they'll lock in the highest, they call it a high water mark, the highest your portfolio ever gets. Who doesn't want to invest in the stock market with somebody guaranteeing the highest that portfolio ever gets? Doesn't that sound awesome? Doesn't apply to your real cash value. That's where the tricks start, coming in. We're not doing this to grow our cash value. We're doing it for an income benefit. So that high water mark, cool, I like it, but it doesn't really tell me how much income I'm going to get. And then they'll even put little guarantees in there with 5, 6, 7% guaranteed minimum growth. So they'll lock in the high water mark. They'll give you some guaranteed growth, but don't do these things if you think you're using that to grow your real money. It's not real money. It's an income payment somewhere down the line. The problem is that $151,000 you see at the bottom of the income account there, that's not income. That doesn't tell us anything, right? So this is what we get sold. We have to understand where the income comes from. So in this example here, if you can see it, 1994, I put $100,000 in the fixed version and $100,000 in the variable version. The variable annuity just skyrocketed because the late 90s, the stock market just went straight up. Okay, so 100,000 turned into 283,000 real quick. And it locked in that high water mark of that portfolio. Whereas the fixed version got the 8% bonus, got the 7% guaranteed growth. But all these numbers we see here, they're just funny money. They're fake dollars. They're not real. Nobody's going to hand us $283,000. That's not money. Okay, that's so important. All those fancy bells and whistles we were sold only have to do with the income account, and that's it. And this income account has to be calculated somehow. We don't have all the information when we just see how it grows. So we have to go into the contract and we have to find out what the payout rates are. So this example, 283,000 at 70 years old is certainly better than 260,000, one would think. $280,000 is better than $260,000. Everybody knows that, right? But $283,000 is not an income payment. We open the contract, they tell us what the payout rates are. And you find out very quickly that the variable annuity in this example pays out 5% at 70. 5% of $283,000 is $1,181 a month for the rest of my life. I trigger that guaranteed income, and now I get the $1,181 for the rest of my life. That's what this is, okay? I didn't get $283,000. They're literally handing me my own money back, $1,181 a month at a time. That's all they're doing. And once my real money goes to zero, then they have to use their money, and that's when we know we won. It's a good investment at that point, right? So one thing that you'll notice, the fixed versions of these, the payout rates are always going to be higher. You compare variable annuities to fixed annuities, you're always going to see a higher payout percentage, and it's for a very logical reason. The fixed version, those math geeks, those actuaries that create all this stuff, they know exactly what your payment is to the penny every year into the future. They're not relying on the stock market. Whereas the variable annuity relies on the stock market to grow your benefit. If it just kept going up and up and up and up, the insurance company is going to be on the hook for a much higher payout. And those actuaries, those math geeks, those spreadsheet geeks like me, that drives them nuts. That's risk, right? An insurance company could have an unlimited income benefit that they have to pay you, and they're obligated to pay you. So they mitigate that risk by lowering the payout percentages. So universally, you compare them side by side, you're going to see lower payout rates on the variable annuities, but the upside growth potential is greater in a variable annuity. So your give and take is what we have there. It doesn't mean one's better than the other, but in this case, 260,000 times 6% is 1301 a month. And what you'll find out very quickly in the sales gimmicks is that these most of these fixed ones will double if you're in a long-term care facility. Not a bad deal. Problem is, lots of fine print on that as well. So we got to be careful about that. This is not a long-term care insurance policy. This is a boost to your income that's temporary. If your real cash value has gone to zero, they won't double it, right? So if you trigger the income at 70 years old and don't go into long-term care until 85, I guarantee you your cash value will be zero and they won't double it at that point. So that's why you have to be careful about that. They also will not double it for more than 5 years. And I say they because they're all doing that. The fine print in all the contracts are doing that. So this isn't a particular product. This is just helping you understand these income benefits and where the fine print will kind of change things for you, right? So those are the two options if you need income in the future. Again, guaranteed income, we need enough to pay our base living expenses to enjoy retirement. So if we don't need income later, we need it now, an immediate annuity is the best choice out there. By far going to give you the biggest payment for the smallest amount of money, okay? There's no other investment out there that you hand $1 to and they guarantee a payment for the rest of your life other than this. This is an immediate annuity, okay? This is where companies go with their lump sum of money when they have to pay you a pension, okay? My business partner's father worked for Enron his entire life. Well, Enron's out of business, but the family still gets that pension. And that's because when he retired, they took a lump sum of money and went to an insurance company and bought an immediate annuity. So you can get this life with spousal continuance. You can get it 50% to spouse, 75% to spouse. You can do a 15-year period certain, meaning they'll pay you for the rest of your life. But if you pass away 2 days later, they'll pay your heirs for 15 years. That's kind of cool. So that way you're not handing money to them, dying 2 days later, and the insurance company gets to keep it all, right? Because think about your pension. If you retire, collect your pension, die 2 days later, that money's gone, right? So you can mitigate that when you choose your payout on this. So these immediate annuities have a lot of choices like that, and that becomes really important. And as you can see, the numbers there, we've got $100,000 with a male age 70, guaranteed payout rate, 8.39%. That's guaranteed payment. So that's for $100,000, that's an $8,300 payment a year for the rest of your life. Well, as you can see, the game here is start collecting that payment and live a long time. That's how you win on these investments. But if it takes the stress away from managing money in retirement by having a little bit more income, a little boost to your income, it's worth it. Okay, these aren't efficient to pass money to your heirs, but for you to be able to go enjoy your retirement, if a little boost to your income helps that, that becomes really important. All right, hopefully that helps. The next one we're going to talk about is passive income, the stock dividend payers and yielding type investments. So stay tuned for part 4 coming up.